So Anita is insinuating herself back into the news cycle again with an interview that claims victories were made in quote-unquote feminism's slow march into the gaming sphere, while shifting the goalposts because you absolutely have to realign the problem as far away as possible from any viable solution in order to keep that snake oil grift going. When I first saw the news of this, I scoffed at the headline and eventually just ignored it, but of course, a random conversation it really got me thinking. So it started with something as simple as a JoJo reference. In one of my groups, a friend posted a picture of Steve Harvey with a ridiculous outfit on, I guess respect the drip, his stand and the menacing pressure kanji superimposed on top of him. I responded by saying that his name is Steve Harvey and his stand is Survey Said! Harking back to his time as host of Family Feud. Like most of our inside jokes, we wind up expanding on this until great detail, to absurd levels of great detail, actually. And the first statement was that Survey Said creates a panel in your chest that flips over and reveals the truth about them. I added in an idea that stated that Survey Said could also manipulate reality based off of getting a statistical amount of people to agree with him. Yeah, of course, we're weird, but that's why we're friends. But this actually kind of kicked off something that led me right back to the Anita article. These so-called activists, in order to manifest victory, have to first convince the rest of the public that their actions have achieved that victory. It's not about activism itself and trying to do something for a worthy cause. It's creating the illusion of that thing and then trying to convince us all that this benefited society in some way, shape, or form. Moreover, in order for Anita to have won, she would have to get her detractors to even openly admit that she has in fact won. But of course, what out of her contributions exactly constitutes a win per se in this last decade? The majority of developers she's met with have completely destroyed their own franchises, bending over backwards just to please audiences that were already catered to in the first place. Assassin's Creed, Mirror's Edge, Battlefield, Tomb Raider, all games that had an albeit small audience female-wise compared to the larger male counterparts, but they existed nonetheless. While Syndicate supposedly made a big to-do about its dual protagonists, one being female, no one is really using that as a shining example of moving the needle or a victory over the misogynerds. Mirror's Edge is shelved indefinitely. Battlefield, with its disabled black Nazi female character models, were not only the laughing stock of gaming at the time, it caused EA a devastating 13.3% stock loss for the company. Supposedly the worst single-day drop from the company since 2008. I'm sure the backlash of Battlefield 2042 has not helped matters either. Tomb Raider's gritty reboot has done so well for the company that they've decided to go backwards to old Lara Croft for a series of mobile games, because QTE rape dodging simulators are ultimately boring. Then, let's look at the collateral damage on the ground. Playing at being the last woman standing, Anita has literally abandoned both of her co-hosts. Her footage-stealing writing partner / ex-boyfriend, Jonathan McIntosh, and let's not forget her so-called allies. Zoe Quinn has trotted off to the darkest corners of the internet after her accusations had caused an indie developer to commit suicide. Her Twitch mod, Valis77, is rotting in prison for being a convicted sex offender. Sub-mediocre programmer and name-only Randy Harper winds up fucking off to Who the Hell Cares, and Brianna Wu has basically reduced herself to becoming a political joke and making hilariously terrible counter-arguments to Eric July videos. White knighting figures in both the gaming industry and the journalist sects have eventually seen their skeletons trotted out into daylight with hilarious results. Games that push feminist rhetoric are now being pushed to the side by games that focus on, well, being games. And more people are noticing and speaking out against the encroachment going on in their hobbies to varying results. While things aren't exactly fantastic on our side. They're certainly not the victory scenario this particular interview claims them to be for Miss Sarkeesian, but that's the nature of reality for you. No matter how much you lie to the dwindling followers of your own base, reality always steps in to let you know what is up. In reality, Anita mismanaged her funds and the well is running dry. Therefore, she has to drum up more controversy in order to get her coffers back up to acceptable levels of sustainability. That's it. That's the game. It's not about women's rights. It's not about female representation. It's not about any of those topics. It's a hot button topic that's generated to get all the right people riled up to give her money in order to continue the illusion of fighting for rights that we already have as human beings. And as Yahtzee Croshaw has said time and time again, it's not progressive if you're progressing to the place we already fucking are. So with all that being said, are you winning, Anita? Thank you, and I'll see you next boss fight.